Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all. Welcome back to Putty Learning Solutions. So, in this particular video series, we will continue to learn installing, configuring, and managing VMware Hypervisor version 8.x infrastructure. So, we will practically execute following steps in this particular part 12c video. So if you remember, in the part 12a we have learned how to update our vCenter server through CLI. Then in part b we have seen how to update our vCenter server through GUI mode. Now in this particular 12c video we will continue to learn the VMware vSphere 8.x infra updates and servicing. So we'll be doing updating VMware vSphere ESXi servers from version 8.0.3b build 242-80767 to version 8.0 update 3e 246-77879. Okay, so we'll be updating from this particular version 8.0 update 3b to 8.0 update 3e. So this is a general term. And what is the build number? The older build number is 242-80767. The newer will be after update 246-77879. Okay, now for this particular part 12c, the most important thing is what will be our method to update our ESX servers. So method will be updating ESXi host through CLI mode, that is your command prompt, okay, or through command line interface or through SSH. So we'll be doing complete update through your command line. We will be not using GUI. 99% we will be using CLI. Okay, so this will be our 12c video. Okay, so let's start. So the first thing, we need to verify our existing ESXi server version. So what could be our step? So there are various ways through which we can obtain existing ESXi build version. So we'll be doing at least 3 to 4 methods to check our existing ESXi build through command prompt or through CLI. So what will be our method 1? So check ESX host version through our Putty session or root login through VMware -v command. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going back to my server over here, opening the Putty session, and I'm just entering my ESX host IP. So I'm just logging with the root. Okay, so now the root session has been started. First of all, let's see whether it is showing our existing ESXi version build. So the command over here is VMware -v. Okay, so as you can see, it is showing ESXi 8.0.3 build number 242-80767. So this is the simplest way to check your existing ESXi version and build number. Okay, so coming back to our PPT, so ESX version showing, as I said, 8.0.3 242-80767. Now let's see method number 2. So again, through the same Putty session, we can get another command to root login, ESX CLI system version get. Okay, so let's go back to our Putty session. So let me check that one, ESX CLI system version get. Now you can see over here it is showing some more details with this particular command. So what are those details? Our product is VMware ESXi, version is 8.0.3, build number is 242806767, update number 3, that's why it is showing 3 over here also, and patch number 35. Okay, so this is showing the complete hierarchy of your ESX updates. Okay, in update 3 also, let's say every now and then VMware releasing the patches, so this is the patch level number 35. Okay, so this is the second command through which we can verify our ESX host version and build. Okay, so as I said, above command showing following details: product will be VMware ESXi, version will be 8.0.3, then build number, release build 242806767, then update level is 3 and patch level is 35. Okay, so this is somewhat giving more details compared to the previous command. Okay, now let's move on to the third method. Okay, so suppose for some reasons you have not enabled your SSH or Putty access for your ESX servers for security reasons. So what could be our next method? We need to directly open the SSH screen or SSH session directly through a ESXi console. Okay, so what I'm going to do over here is I'm going back here and I'm going back to my direct console of my ESX host 01. Okay, now here I need to press F2 over here. It will ask me for the root password. I will put my root password. Okay, now it is showing me some different options. Let's go back to our PPT and see what it is showing. So now this method we are checking ESX host version through our direct console SSH session on main ESX CLI console. So F2 and root password we have already entered. Next is we need to go inside troubleshooting options and enable our ESXi shell, and then hitting enter and escape twice to return to the main screen. So I'm going back here, I'm selecting my troubleshooting options, enter, and here you can see ESXi shell is disabled. You can see over here, so we need to enable it. Okay, so I'm just hitting enter by selecting this option, the first one, hitting enter, so it will automatically enable. Now you can see the ESXi shell is enabled. That means I can directly take command line interface through my ESX main console. Now just imagine this particular console as your direct server console. Okay, forget about that we have done this nested virtualization and all. In a real production scenario, this will be your real direct console for your ESX host. Okay, so ESX shell is enabled. Now I'm hitting enter twice and coming back to my main screen. Okay, so let's go back to our PPT. Now next screen is, so back to the ESX host main login screen. We need to press Alt F1 and then log in with the root session. So I'm coming back here and in the console I'm just pressing Alt F1. It will ask me for this login screen. Now this login screen will come only after you are enabling your SSH option from the troubleshooting options what we have done in the previous step. So I'm just logging with the root, enter, root password, and now you can see I have logged in with my root credentials. Okay. Now next is now we can check with the both the commands what we have done through Putty session. So the method 3 will be your simple command from root SSH session VMware -v. Okay, so it's the same thing. So I'm just typing over here, and you can see over here it will give me the same output. Okay, and similarly I can enter the next command what we have already done through our Putty session, ESXi system version get. Okay, so ESXi system version get, hit enter. So it will give me the same product version, build, update and patch level details over here. Okay, so we have actually tried the same two commands through two different options, through two different CLI. One is your Putty SSH session, and if that Putty or SSH session is not enabled, you can directly check through our main console SSH main server console. Okay, so both ways you can check the patch level or build version for your ESXi server host. So let's move on to the next step. Now we have checked through four methods how to check your existing ESX host versions through command prompt or through CLI session or through SSH session, whatever you may call it. Let's move on. Now next option, the method number 5 is a bit longer than the existing one. Suppose you don't have an access to your existing ESXi CLI session or ESXi server, or you want to check the version of 10 ESX servers at once. Okay, so what is the central way? So the check ESX host version through VCSA, that is your virtual center server appliance or virtual center server, through CLI session. How to do that? So let's see. What I will do is, first I will connect to my VCSA server through my Putty SSH root session. Okay, so I'm coming back here, coming back to my system. First of all, I will exit from the ESXi Putty session. I will open a fresh session, and here we will put our VCSA server IP, okay, which is 192.168.1.25. okay, and here I will log in as a root. Okay, now first thing, it is giving us prompt to you require to change the password immediately, because by default the VCSA is having some days enforce policy for changing the password. So what we will do, we will not change from here. Okay, so I will close this one first. I will minimize everything. I will come back to my direct console. Now here we need to do couple of things. First of all, we need to reset our VCSA password. So what I'm doing is I'm logging to my ESX host, which is hosting our vCenter server. So logging it with the root example. This is a bit extra activity what we need to do, because currently VCSA server's password has been expired. Just a minute. So I'm logging to my ESX host 01. Now let's go to the actual vCenter server VM, which is a nested VM what we have already created, and here I need to press F2 to customize my system. So I will press F2. It will ask me for the existing root password. So I've given the existing one. Now here, since we need to change the password, there is an option called, in the system customization, there is an option called configure root password. So here I will press enter and I will give old and new password. So I have set the new password. Now pressing escape to come out of the main system. Okay, now our vCenter server password has been reset. Now let's go back to our step. So what we need to do, we need to take the Putty session. So just entering the VCSA IP, then login as root. And now you can see I have logged in as a root with the new password. Okay, so this particular step has been completed. Now let's go back to our PPT. Okay, so first thing, connect the VCSA server through Putty SSH root session. Now we are continuing with the method 5, checking the ESX host version through VCSA, SSH, CLI or Putty session. So in either way, your SSH session or CLI session or Putty session, okay, either way you can check your ESX server's hosts version through VCSA console. Okay, so next step is enter the following commands through VCSA Putty SSH session. So what is the command number 1? First of all, we need to go to the shell. Okay, so I will just come out here. First I will just clear the screen, and here the first command, shell. Okay, so shell access is granted to root. Next command is a bit longer one, so what I'm doing over here is I'm just putting one central command, ESX alias ESX version, echo ALS ESX versions, and then the command which is actually giving me all the ESX host servers version through a central process, okay, through my VCSA database. Okay, so what I'm doing, since this particular command is a bit longer one, so what I'm doing is I'm coming to my PPT and copying this as it is. Okay, and this is the advantage of Putty session, you can directly copy paste the commands. Okay, so you can see over here I have just copied this command. Okay, and now I will hit enter. Okay, this is the second command. So I have given an instruction to echo one simple command, that is ESX versions. Okay, and what it will echo, it will echo all the ESX versions in a central place using this particular command. I'm just re-explaining one more time. You can put like a batch file or a simple batch name for a particular command. Okay, and that batch name will express itself using this command, whatever command you may take it as a batch file. So in a Windows DOS prompt, like we are running a batch, but inside that batch there are multiple expressions which you can run. Same thing over here, I'm putting one expression which will give me a centralized ESX servers, all ESX servers version in a simple echo. That means simple command, one command, multiple expressions inside it. Okay, so now let's go back to our PPT. So let's move on to the next step. Since we have copied this particular command, we have completed this command. Now let's move on to the next step. So next step is we are continuing with our method to check the ESX host. So what we have done, we have given one echo for the alias expressions as ESX versions. Okay, so now next step is we need to now put that echo or that expression. So what is our expression over here? So next command will be source and then bashrc. Okay, so what I will go back to my PPT and I will copy this particular command, copy, and going back to my session and here putting this command. Okay, so this is done. Now next command will be, now actually we are putting that particular command as ESX versions. Okay, this is our expression. Okay, ESX versions. See over here what we have done, we have done giving an echo alias ESX versions. Now ESX version is equal to opt, then VMware, and then the whole command, which is actually getting your ESX versions, ESX host version from the virtual center DB. Okay, coming back here, and now I'm just putting this particular command, copying it and going back to my Putty session ESX version. Once I'm hitting enter, let's see the results. Now you can see the results over here. So here I'm getting two ESX hosts, ESX host 02 and ESX host 01, and the product is VMware ESXi 8.0.3 and build is 242.80767. Suppose I'm having 10 ESX hosts in a single vCenter, so it will give me those 10 ESX hosts output over here. Currently we are only having 2. So I hope this command will be useful for the production guys who wants to see the existing ESXi server versions, multiple ESXi server versions from a central place, from a vCenter server. Okay, so this is the last method through which we can check the ESXi server versions and builds. Okay, so let's go back to our PPT.